I have the neck support system that allows me to propel the sound waves forward, good sir, to reach your incredibly
My
well-maintained...
drumsticks.
Your incredibly well-maintained drumsticks.
Wow.
And even though there's something with my voice, for some certain sense, the Bernie voice is perfectly adapted for my... Yes.
You have a booming voice, sir.
Martha! Thank you. I run marathons, but my wife, Janet, always said my voice was my greatest gift. I'm louder than a chicken in the morning.
Since I was a kid, they told me, Bernie, you have to do radio.
I said, fuck that shit, I have to help the people. And I've tried. God damn it, Luigi, I've tried. I'm old now, and my teeth are saggy. They're saggy, Luigi, they droop so low. You don't want to see them, Martha, Luigi, whatever. Who am I speaking to? on this fine occasion. Brothers and sisters.
We are ready to begin this fight. The fight against corporate greed and billionaires and multi-millionaires.
And multi-bazillionaires. we can do this forever.
So how's it going, George? Welcome to another glorious episode. How are you? What's happening around the world?
I am doing as good as the circumstances permit, brothers and sisters of around the world. I bid you a good afternoon. How are you, Luigi? Great brother.
doing very well. It's been a most productive week. We have lots of interesting news for everyone.
We have once again far too many news. Sorry, Luigi.
And I see we are starting light, as has become custom.
As is our tradition, we've got something you'll find it very funny. Francois Hollande. That was a previous French president. Nobody remembers his anymore. I think when he left office, he left it with 4% favorability ratings, which even for France, it was a pretty good number. It was a pretty good benchmark. And one of the scandals that he had, which was a fascinating one, because the fascinating aspect of the scandal, Luigi, was that nobody expected it from this doofus-looking guy, was that they caught him riding to visit his lover in 2014 in a classic French scandal, Luigi. And it involved a bodyguard who apparently was nicknamed as the croissant man. He was bringing the fucking pastries from the bakery next door. And his scooter, his love scooter, was sold recently for more than 20,000 euros. Not bad. Not bad for a scooter.
Nobody expects the romantic scooter used by the president.
The French president. It's a scandal tailor-made for the French. Wouldn't you agree?
Yeah,
It's a classic French scandal.
Who buys a $20,000 scooter just to say this was Hollande's?
His saggy ass sat there while he drove around central Paris to fuck.
Legend says that if you smell it, you can still smell some of his sweat on the seat.
Some of his ball sweat. It was not the revelation that the French president had been making secret visits to his lover that scandalized the nation. However, but the fact he did so on a Piaggio MP3, whatever the fuck scooter. Wow.
No style. No style. I mean,
to be fair, classic French style, I would argue. Yes, mon ami, I'm going to fuck.
Wait for me, I'm riding at the speed of light.
I love this. Who was nicknamed Monsieur Flamby, a kind of French Mr. Blobby, for what were perceived as wobbly left-wing politics. And I think that suits him like a T. Was seen as an unlikely Lothario. He was seen as an unlikely guy who goes to mistresses late at night. Yeah. So, yeah. Very interesting. They have a history of sexual escapades, their presidents. The Guardian goes on to explain.
It's France.
Yeah, of course.
Anyone is going to have a history at the sexual endeavors at the presidency.
I drink a bit too much and then my willy goes up and then, it is the nature of life.
Vive la France.
Vive la France, and a great nation. Let's move on.
Let's
What
move
else
on.
have we got, Luigi? Oof, this is a nice morsel of information, Luigi. We've got the Prime Minister of India, Modi, increasingly claiming in interviews, Luigi, that he's been chosen by motherfucking God. Which,
Yeah, man.
I mean, as far as you know, as rulers go, you got a good one, India. Keep him.
Did you never read like the holy books? Was
I think
Jesus and his
Luigi, it's
younger
not
brother?
Luigi is not
What?
Jesus. It's India, dude. It's the Kama Sutra.
I know. Wow. What's India's holy book?
The Kama Sutra. So I mean, if you read it, you know that that's the sex god. He's convinced that the sex god has sent him for a purpose, and once the purpose is achieved, my work will be done. He keeps saying it. It's not one interview. I love that. Some relative of Gandhi, I presume. Not really. I doubt it, Luigi. But he's the opposition leader. Said that if an ordinary person had made the statements Modi has been making recently, they would be taken directly to a psychiatrist. Now, I can't tell you
But
if this guy is corrupt, but he's right about this. I can fucking guarantee that.
but the guy has been behaving as if he's God. He is
Yeah.
the right winger god of India.
Yeah,
Was
he's
just
very
elected.
Trumpian, very
Yeah,
Trumpian. And I think he's been
exactly.
doing it before Trump, Luigi. I think he's been
Yeah,
there before.
right
Slightly
about
before.
the
Yeah.
same time. Like it's been almost 10 years
Oof,
since he
brothers,
died.
brothers in arms, Luigi.
It's the toned down version of Donald Trump because, like, Indians wouldn't go for the real thing,
Is it
obviously.
though? I mean, we don't hear a lot. I mean, you've got how many? 200 million Muslims in India. A lot of people forget they're not all in Pakistan. And you've got this guy basically stoking hatred against them
Yeah.
non-stop which is what basically Trump does with the Mexican rapists and whatever the fuck. So
Is,
yeah, they're very similar, I agree.
isn't it kind of classic for the extreme right wingers to have a god complex,
Yeah.
to be like, only me can save this earth from the
It's
left wingers?
definitely.
So Shiva, Krishna, Vishnu, and Modi, are those
Yeah.
the Indian gods?
Those are it, I think so. Up to now. Let's move on, Luigi. To move
Let's do
on.
it.
Let's do it. Yeah, this is
Serious
very.
news.
Yeah,
Elections in the United Kingdom.
it's the elections, bruv, in it. You gotta vote, bruv. And I mean, on the theme that we've already elaborated on, Mr.
Wait,
This is Mr. Centrist guy, the Labour leader. Yeah, go
let me
on.
summarize this. I am Sir Keir Starmer. I stand for nothing, and
I'll
I
stand
promise
for
you
whatever
nothing.
you want, sir. What do you want, sir, interviewer? What would you like things to be like? I stand for that. I stand for exactly what you guys want. And if some other guys want something else, I stand for that as well.
George, I stand for good things, and I am against bad things.
I am so against bad things, good sir. In fact, while I rule this country, there will be no bad things done at all. Only good things. I stand for good things. Only good.
So what do we
I
have?
mean, we've got basically that this guy, and the reason we make so much fun of him is that he has dropped pretty much every fucking promise he has ever made. I mean, there's so many that to fucking summarize them, we take a whole episode.
It's
I
about
mean,
10. He literally had 10 pledges
that was
that he
at the
was going to.
start. Yeah. That's
Like
how
4 years
he got
ago.
elected.
Yeah.
4 years ago, he made 10 pledges. This included, we got some of them, abolishing university tuition fees. You had nationalizing rail, water, energy companies. Obviously, he's abandoned all that. But then he
Increasing
made,
taxes for the super
oh,
wealthy, all
yeah.
kind of stuff.
Then Luigi,
Green
sometime later,
investments.
you remember that
Yeah.
one. You remember that one. The 28 billion he was gonna do green. He U-turned on that one pretty fast as well. So he keeps U-turning on everything. By the way, this guy who was in Corbyn's cabinet when Corbyn was the Labour leader of the opposition, was the number one pro-EU guy. So he has U-turned on that in his career, in his political career as well. He was the number one. He was the one responsible for our EU policy, the Labour ones, and he's the one who came up with the second referendum, which I think contributed to Corbyn's loss as well. So this guy has U-turned into now being barely mentioning whatever the fuck is happening with Brexit.
We should
Go
add
on.
that he is 20 percentage points ahead in the polls. He's
Yes.
almost certain to be the next prime minister. The question is not really whether he's going to get elected. The question is how big is he gonna win? Like, what's the
Yeah.
majority in parliament? How many seats
Yeah.
does the Labour Party take?
And I mean, I've already said that I think he's gonna win by less than what is predicted.
Okay, so
Big,
he's gonna
big.
underperform. I'll agree with that. I
I'm gonna
think
say,
20
yeah,
percentage points. 20 percentage points is a lot. Like I think the
yeah.
polls are exaggerating the real state of play, let's say.
I'd consider it a victory, Luigi, if he gets more seats than Bojo did.
Okay.
Because, and my
Mhm.
argument was last episode, I just can't imagine a landslide for a guy who stands for fucking nothing. It is
But
literally
he does
inconceivable in my head.
he does stand for one thing.
Yeah.
I'm not the opposition.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, yeah, yeah,
I
yeah, yeah.
am not the conservative. Like the Tories fucked you over the last 14 years. I'm not
100%.
those guys.
100%. And that's why I think he's still going to get elected. Because, I mean, the
Mhm.
situation is so fucking bad with the Tories and what they've destroyed a nation, people, orphans are walking down the spiel, whatever. It's bad.
Yeah.
It's bad.
So,
So, I mean, they came out, Luigi,
mhm.
very recently, and they said that they're not going to do austerity. No
Yeah,
austerity.
the shadow
Yeah.
chancellor, no less, which is probably the next finance minister
Yes,
for
yes,
the
yes.
global
That,
audience.
excuse me, sir, they call him the Chancellor of the Exchequer.
The
The
exchequer.
Exchequer.
Okay, so
Yeah,
this is other like bizarre to say the least. Like normally when you get a Labour left-wing government, what you would expect is an increase in spending, higher taxes, like all of that. Let's take some from the hedge funds and throw a bone to regular people that are struggling or government services. And instead of that, like they're discussing the fact that they're not going to go back to austerity. Like instead of discussing increasing government spending, they are saying we are not gonna cut it. Like from a ridiculously low level already. Like honestly,
and I
sometimes
mean,
like
yeah.
you just can't believe what you are reading in the news.
Oh, yeah, and I mean, there's been at most four Labour governments ever since the party has existed. So I mean, you don't get many chances at it.
Yeah.
Is what I'm
And
hinting at.
like most of those were, last century.
Oh, yeah, it's been. I mean, we had Tony Blair, but I don't know. It's iffy whether he qualifies as a Labour leader.
Yeah, but I mean, Tony Blair is who Keir
A man,
Starmer today
Luigi.
is trying to emulate.
Oh, yeah,
Like he's
100%.
trying to
And
emulate that style. I'm a centrist. I'm not really Labour. Vote for me.
yeah, yeah, yeah. And we're talking about the man who is most known as the guy who went hand in hand with George Bush in the Iraq War, the Labour leader. I mean,
So
Jesus
that's
Christ.
what you call a legacy,
I
George.
mean, I'm not gonna lie, were things much better economically in the UK while Tony was in charge? Definitely,
But
definitely
not
better than
because
the
of
Tories.
Tony Blair.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. But I mean, I'm no. I mean, the Tories are worse, definitely, because the Tories are beyond bad at this point. They're the guys who fucking pulled the UK out of the EU because they went fucking insane.
They didn't go insane. A bunch of hedge funds and finance bros
Yes.
threw money at them to do that.
Yeah, yeah,
Like
and
the
it was
motives are pretty
easy.
clear to avoid
Yeah,
regulation on the financial sector. Like it's always follow the money.
100%. And it's easy to scapegoat a foreigner or whatever, rather
Yeah.
than yeah. It's
Yeah,
it's
yeah, yeah.
easy to direct your ire towards that
Rather
party.
than reflect inwards and actually find the root of the problems. But why would you ever
Find
do that?
peace within 100%. 100%. But
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
she has said that they're going to raise money by introducing VAT on private school fees, increasing tax on private equity bonuses, extending the windfall tax on energy companies' as profits, and cracking down on non-doms and tax avoidance. Listen, I agree with all of this, but you need to do it because if you turned on fucking everything, I can't believe you're going to do this at this point.
I think it's gonna be the bare minimum. Like it's gonna be
Mm.
symbolic rather than any, material change.
And they only get one chance at it. Believe you me, even if the Tories have been so fucking atrocious, the public will vote them again the second they fucking whiff that you're fucking things up. Labour doesn't get many chances in the UK.
Look, honestly, I'm gonna frame it this way. Okay, I know this is a buzzkill, but this is one of the lowest stakes election in recent memory
You mean
because
in terms of
in
who's
terms
gonna
of
win?
yeah, no. I mean, in terms of what's gonna change. I mean, who's
Oh,
gonna win is
yeah.
obvious, but
Mm.
in terms of like, is anything going to happen from the change in government? Almost nothing. So I'm gonna go out on a limb and call it one of the most insignificant elections that I can think of since the pandemic, for sure. but
Yeah.
probably, over the last decade.
Let's to
Let's move
finish
on.
up on this. To finish up
Okay.
on this, Luigi,
Mhm.
just so why the whole thing has been cemented that fucking Labour is gonna win. Sunak's fucking flagship policy for winning this motherfucking election is a promise to bring back the national service for 18-year-olds. Now it's not even gonna be real national service, but even still, this is not the fucking campaign fucking promise that gets you elected anywhere in the UK in 2024. No fucking way.
Here's what I think the angle he's playing. Like, he's like, I'm the conservatives. We are not gonna get 18-year-old votes anyway. Maybe this plays well with the older conservative audiences, especially in light of the Ukraine
Yeah,
war and,
but
security.
Luigi, he's gonna get fucking young voters to actually vote against him, and I guarantee you, many of them would not fucking move an inch to vote for Labour.
That is true. So is
This
this a way
motherfucker
is this
he's
a way?
actually is he trying to lose? Is what we're getting at. I don't know at this point.
George, I think
Does he wanna retire,
we
Carly?
finally solved the puzzle of how you motivate 18-year-olds to go out and vote.
I
Just threaten
guess.
them with mandatory army service.
The other guy has to do that to get you elected.
Yeah,
That's
I
the
mean,
issue.
you can't do it with a carrot. It has to be a stick from the other guy.
Yeah, you gotta bait Trump. You hear, Jack? You gotta bait Trump into fucking enlisting 18-year-olds. They're gonna get you elected in no time. Should we move on, Luigi?
Let's move on.
Should we move on? Um, well, since we mentioned Jack, Luigi, I wanted to mention very briefly because I've been seeing this shit everywhere. All these endless drooling bobbleheads, Luigi, on CNN and MSNBC, wondering why Biden is behind the polls. And let's ask ourselves: is it because voters hate Biden? Of course not. I'm
It's
willing to
because,
bet not even Trump hates Biden.
in order of importance, it's because of inflation and secondarily because Biden can't string a sentence together.
100%. Is it his policy in Israel? Sadly, I believe not.
I don't think that matters. I don't think that moves the needle. I mean, it makes for a good news headline, but it doesn't really move the needle. What the average person cares about is, do I have a job? Does that job pay me enough to have a decent living? And is my living standard rising over the years? If you are not checking those boxes, like if you are checking those boxes, I might not care if you can speak, like if
Yeah,
you can complete sentences. But if you
I,
can't, then it's a problem. Yeah.
sadly, I agree that Gaza may be a deal breaker for many young voters, but young voters don't really vote in the same numbers as older voters anyway. So, it's marginal. And contrary, I agree with what many would tell you. It's not even his age. Yeah, he could be a drooling,
Yeah,
pants-shitting,
yeah.
half-dead homunculus, dude. And if the
He
economy
could be.
hadn't experienced a 30% inflation raise during his term, they would be fucking re-electing him if the opponent was Trump. It's the economy. It's
So,
always the
so
economy, you dipshits.
it's always the economy. And here's a funny poll that recently came out. So, if the official US unemployment rate is near its lowest level in 50 years.
Oh, dude.
And
Yeah.
a recent poll basically said that most Americans think that the unemployment rate is near a 50-year high. So the way we do the data and the
Very
way people
important
actually
point.
experience the economy is completely different, because a job is a job and it's gonna get counted as a job, but for the person working it, it's a shit job.
If I hear one more credit dude exclaim on fucking CNN or MSN, how can this be? He's got the most lowest of the superest duperest of unemployment rates. I'm gonna lose my fucking mind,
Yeah, yeah.
dude. I
Meanwhile,
mean,
gasoline prices are permanently up, egg prices are up, like all of the things you have to put on the kitchen table are going up in
it's
price.
dude. I've got the questions, just a few. Does the unemployment rate tell us anything about inflation? No. Do we know?
There's
Mostly
this whole,
not.
yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah, I know. Yeah, but let's be real. Do we know if they are employed in well-paid jobs? No. Could you be employed and still have everything in the supermarket cost 30% fucking more? Yes.
Obviously.
Did the Nazis have a low unemployment rate? Yes. I rest my motherfucking case.
Wow. So look, it's really simple. There's a lot of like inflation has come down to about 3.5%,
It's
three and a half
still
percent a year.
30% more since the past 2 years, isn't it?
Exactly. and wages haven't caught up. Like you can look at wage growth being at 4% and inflation being at 3.5% and say, if you
Ah,
subtract one from the other, you get
good sir.
0.5% real. But
Let me show you
that's
some numbers.
yeah, that's bullshit. Basically, you are never gonna win a voter with
They're
that because
bullshitting you, people. They're
voters might not
literally
understand.
bullshitting you. Yeah, but they do
Give you some
understand, Luigi.
statistics.
Sorry. They might not
Yeah,
understand what are the fucking numbers that douchebag on CNN is going on about, but they do know that in the supermarket, everything fucking costs a lot more.
precisely.
You
They
can't
also know
lie to them about these fuckers. You gotta
they
do
also know
something.
that
Yeah,
their
sorry, Luigi.
mortgage rate is at
Oh,
7%,
yeah.
so they can't get a loan, they can't start a family right now. It's just dude, it's a bad situation.
It's a double whammy. Yeah, yeah.
Whoever was president, presiding over this mess would have been hurt very badly.
And I mean,
This
whatever,
thing is
dude.
just by
I know that fucking Jack has made a few good speeches calling out the fucking the capitalists and they're making more money than God and whatever. Fuck, dude, you should do something about it. If these motherfuckers are gaming the system, if they're doing cartels, if supermarket bosses have gotten together and fixed prices, you can do something about that. If you just make a speech that nobody hears about, Joey, other than me and fucking Luigi and a couple of other fucking YouTubers, it's not gonna do much. It's
yeah.
ridiculous, right? I mean, what the fuck? I mean, and whoever is wondering, is it true? I mean, they're literally bragging about it and talking to themselves and admitting it on their quarterly fucking earnings calls,
And
dude.
not only that, so the way you can realize, so let's do some financials. The way you realize
Nice.
that the corporation is basically well cheating you basically is when their profit margins go up. So out of every $100 the corporation takes in, how much of that does it keep in profit? If that number is going up while inflation is also going up, that means they're exploiting the inflation wave to jack up their profits.
Yeah.
They are not increasing their prices as much as inflation is increasing. They're increasing it by more and
More.
taking advantage of the situation. There was a case study by the European Central Bank, I believe about a year ago, maybe less, and it found that about 40% of all the inflation in the euro area since the pandemic was caused by corporate greed, as Bernie Sanders would put it. Corporations increasing their profits basically way more than the rate of inflation. So
And
they are taking
literally,
advantage of us too. Yeah.
sorry, and literally telling their investors about it openly. They're not saying we're raising prices just to cover costs, increasing costs. They're telling them that we're raising it to raise our fucking margins
Yeah, because
because this is a good environment to
you
do it.
can bullshit everyone, but you can't bullshit the investor class, George. That has
Because
always been the
those
rule.
are the guys with the monies, folks.
Basically. Let's keep moving, I think. Let's see. What else do we have?
And if you're not on the table, Luigi, you're on the fucking menu.
Wow. Wisdom.
Wisdom.
Radio Rocketman 2024.
It's wisdom time, motherfuckers.
You know what they call a wisdom with cheese in France?
What?
A wisdom royale.
Wow. Wow. Oh, oh. And on that
Oh,
note, I mean, it's next door. The EU's
yeah,
far-right
pretty
parties
close.
have expelled Germany's the alternatives people from their group because, I mean, he did a full Trumpism, Luigi. He basically said that not all SS were bad people. Some of them
I saw
maybe
that.
were not criminal. I mean, what did they do? Murder 6 million Jews? What the fuck? Some of them
Yeah.
are good people. So, I mean, they expelled him. Even Le Pen couldn't take this shit because Le Pen is actually jealous of Meloni, Luigi. I'm not gonna lie, and she really wants to get elected.
Yeah, yeah. And then she understands the way you do that is by toning down the real fascist
At
inside you.
least a little bit. I mean, no fucking Nazi SS were not all criminals for fuck's sake. I mean, it seems the Germans are going all in with the whole populism right, Luigi, which is not gonna bode well for anybody, folks.
Yeah. I mean, we've seen that movie. It didn't work out for anyone.
And it ain't gonna work this time either.
It never works. It's never worked in history.
So, I mean, Le
Uh,
Pen, on that note, has invited Meloni to form the super group in the European Parliament. I know Meloni is in a very interesting position, Luigi, because she's being courted by Le Pen and she's also being courted by von der Leyen, by actually the commissioner,
yeah.
who's trying to run for a second term, has to
Mhm.
be added. We have elections very soon. I
Let's hope
know
that they
it's very
yeah.
boring, people, but it's important. At least slightly important. Sorry, Luigi, go on.
Yeah, not really. I mean, I don't know. I don't think that even if the right wingers increase their majority, their numbers in the EU Parliament, how much does that really influence the trajectory, let's say, in Europe? Are
It's
we not
it,
gonna do?
it's
Yeah,
it's not the kind of number that will overwhelm the parliament. Yes, because the second party is still going to be the socialists and the Democrats, which are center left.
yeah.
So obviously there are not going to be that many of them. And the other thing, Luigi, which really helps them not being united, is that they're fragmenting because they've got basically two groups. And one of them is I mean, one of them is really like Trump. So in a sense, they're very pro-Putin. And I mean, Meloni is not pro-Putin. Meloni supports Ukraine. So you've got that fracture developing between them, which really doesn't help them coalescing into a single group. And you've got one side with Le Pen's group, which includes Geert Wilders, who is not going to be the new Dutch prime minister, and Austria's Freedom Party, while Meloni's more normalized ECR includes Poland's party and Spain's Vox, which is anything but normal. So it's all a bit weird, Luigi. But it's going to be hard for them to coalesce because of all those points of disagreement. One of them, namely, being their stance towards Ukraine.
Yeah. I mean, it's been a slow-moving trend. It's been playing in slow motion for at least the last 15 years. But basically, the center is collapsing across Europe. The edges of the political spectrum are rising. It's mostly the right that's benefiting. But what I am seeing that is slightly encouraging, George, there's also a lot of new parties coming to the fore, like a lot of relatively very low polling numbers, but I mean, everybody has to start somewhere, I guess.
Yeah, yeah,
And I'm talking
yeah.
about on a European level right now. So there are some glimmers of hope, you could say, but
It's
yeah,
getting dark.
the right has been gaining for a long time because, again, going back to the economics, that's what happens when people's living standards fall and never recover after
And
a
I,
decade.
and to be fair, after the blitzkrieg that occurred with Reagan's and Thatcher's policies regarding neoliberalism and whatnot, they basically massacred unions in the West, in most of the West. And there was no left-wing party at that point. After the 2000s and then with the financial collapse, there were no left parties capable of doing anything because their complete ideology and institutional structures had been fucking decimated.
Mm-hmm.
And I mean, very few countries managed to hold on.
Yeah,
It
to
was a
sum up.
field day. It was a field day for these fucking clowns who have no actual solutions like Le Pen, etc. Now Meloni has proven more capable than I anticipated. I mean, I anticipated she would be pro-Putin, so I was definitely wrong on that. So she has proven more capable than the
Yeah,
others.
it's encouraging how Meloni has behaved so far in the sense that
For
she's
a
setting an
fascist,
example. Yeah,
100%.
she's setting an example that the way to get elected as a fascist is just to play a normal right winger. Like tone it down, don't
Tone
say the really
down the
aggressive
SS
stuff.
are good people stuff.
Yeah, that kind of that's a blueprint, let's say.
Should
So
we?
yeah, let's
Yeah.
keep moving.
We will embark on this on the following roller coaster of news, Luigi.
Nice.
That is our Gaza update. A lot of things have happened since last week, Luigi. Since we had the ICC, Mr. Khan with his beautiful great balls announcing that he's seeking arrest warrants. He's asking judges to approve the issuance of arrest warrants against Bibi and his friends and the Hamas leaders. And following that, Luigi, we've had. Do you wanna
Mexico.
Mexico?
Mexico is entering the International Court of Justice genocide case that South Africa has brought. Mexico is the third country after Egypt to join that case. And we should also, since we are speaking about South Africa, like a little bit of a tangent, they are voting as we record this beautiful podcast. So we're probably going to have no change in leadership there, but the ruling party, which has ruled since the apartheid days, is finally going to lose its absolute majority and it's going to have to co-rule with other parties. Anyway, a very brief tangent on South Africa. So huge news, George. More countries joining the genocide case.
We have Mexico currently joining. We had Egypt recently, and we had a few others previously that submitted the request to join, including the
Turkey.
Sultan. Yeah, what is this? What is this?
I know it's like some bullshit
Libya.
nationalist.
I'm not
Yeah,
even. Libya, Nicaragua, and Colombia, and So we had that, and then we had following that last Friday, following last Wednesday's, when was it? Last Monday, sorry, previous week's Monday's request by the prosecutor of the ICC. We had the ICJ ordering Israel to immediately halt the Rafah offensive. And that was at the request of South Africa again.
and
Because conditions have deteriorated, etc. And the order,
and spoiler alert,
Bibi
they
responded by blowing up a camp of people,
a
basically in
refugee
Rafah,
camp, and
a
they
refugee
basically
camp.
they incinerated 45 people. By the way, I honestly don't get how international media works. Like everybody was outraged that they killed 40 people living in tents.
Look at this.
And
Yeah.
they weren't outraged when we killed like 35,000 people living in buildings.
Oh,
Like,
yeah,
how
yeah.
does that work? Like, is this the straw that broke the camel's back just because they were in tents?
I don't understand Luigi either. I mean, you say the straw that broke the camel's back, not America's, though. I mean, I heard Macron was outraged. Macron came out very strongly against this. But I mean, yeah, you're right. 35,000 people have
Yeah.
died, people,
And
mostly women and children. It's
yeah,
disgusting. It's beyond a crime against humanity at this point. At this point, it may very well be a fucking genocide. That's how
yeah.
fucking bad it is. Luigi,
Who
this
cares?
is
Who
so
cares about that?
bad. Yeah, sorry.
Who
Go
cares
on.
about the
No.
label? I was gonna say, like, is it a genocide? Who cares about the word? Innocent people are dying. They are not coming back.
Yeah,
What the fuck are we
100%.
doing?
I mean, people who would have you arguing the fucking roots of the word and what the fuck it stands for, they are
Yeah,
missing the
yeah, yeah.
fucking forest for the trees, people. What you're with, I mean, I saw footage in this, Luigi, with
Mhm.
with a parent, his parent
Yeah, yeah.
holding
Horrific.
a beheaded
Beheaded baby.
baby,
Yeah, yeah. I saw it.
beheaded, it had no fucking head, people. That's how bad this is.
Let's also talk about the ratios. So 45 people were killed by this airstrike that supposedly killed two Hamas members. So the
Yeah, I
ratio of
heard.
civilians to combatants is 2 to 43.
And
If
as
and how
Luigi,
many have been
yeah.
injured? I mean,
And
not even counting those.
As Luigi pointed out, supposedly killed two Hamas members. Supposedly. Because at this
I
point
mean, yeah,
I trust nothing these people say, Luigi. I mean
I agree.
they have been so savage in this war against the Palestinian people in Gaza. I mean, dude, I mean, it's not even imagining. Putin has not done this with Ukraine. He has not done
Yeah,
this. He
yeah,
has not gone
yeah.
that far.
I mean, okay, you could make semantic arguments like, Ukraine is not as densely populated and so on, but I'm gonna say those
Still,
are semantics.
he could do it and he hasn't done it because even
Yeah.
Putin understands that this shit is ridiculous.
What else,
Sorry,
George?
we have. Oh, we just have that. The response by old Jack is that this does not cross the US. Go fuck yourself,
Yeah,
Joe. Go fuck
because
yourself.
and this is really funny. It
Go
was
on,
not a
yeah.
major operation. And
Wow,
you are like,
Luigi.
where's that line, Joe Biden? Like,
A
how many?
million people have fled their last bastion of security, which was Rafah. A million.
And
What's
yeah,
left? What's left?
we
Sorry, yeah,
forgot
go
to
on.
mention the most important part. The reason such outrage came out of this is because the area that they bombed was one of the areas that they designated as a
Oh,
safe
yeah.
area for civilians,
Very
basically.
important, yeah, to know. Jesus. I mean, there are no words to explain what the Israeli cabinet,
It's
what
a
Bibi and his friends and his merry friends of fucking degenerates are doing right
It's not a
now.
major operation, George. It's a
Yeah,
minor operation. operation. It's like a medium operation.
It's a
Yeah,
mid-level
yeah, yeah.
operation. I mean, following that, Luigi, there's been a revelation in the Guardian. A scandal came out that the Israeli spy chief for I think close to a decade was threatening the previous International Criminal Court prosecutor before Khan took charge over their war crimes, over them looking into Israel's conduct vis-a-vis Palestine, the Palestinian
As you
people.
do, man. As
And
you
I
do.
mean,
Like that's exactly.
we're talking about ambushing her in hotel rooms. We're talking about threatening her and her family, shit like that. Personally,
Yeah.
by the way, the head of the Mossad. I
Al
mean,
Capone tactics, as you
yeah,
said on the last episode.
he didn't even send a stooge, people. He came himself, which I mean, some other intelligence professional, security professional, whatever in Israel noted that it's pretty fucking dumb because at that point, there's no deniability. It was you, the head of the Mossad, fucker. I mean, they got you dead to rights. You could have sent someone else. To try and fucking threaten your way. Then, firstly, they tried coaxing her into it, and then when they realized she wouldn't budge, they started threatening. Common thug approach, people.
They're like your
So,
classic mafia. Yeah, let's find them at the hotel room
first, I
and
tell
threaten
you,
them.
Luigi, you look beautiful. You look beautiful. And then if you don't pay up, I kill you. I
Yeah,
take out your
that's
leg.
that's how it works. That's how
Yeah.
the world works.
Yeah, sorry. I mean, just
What
to
else?
finish, just to finish, they were tapping her husband, shit like this, trying to find dirt on everybody involved to the closest, family tree. So yeah, let's move on. It was unsuccessful, by the way. Nice to note, and because of the man with great testicles, Luigi. Yes, I mean, at this point, as we've explained, they've gone all in into Rafah. There's no,
Oh yeah,
I
yeah.
mean, yeah, the
Let's.
United States keeps denying it, but basically the Rafah offensive has gone on in full.
They're rolling tanks in, and the US is saying it's not a major ground operation. You're
Okay,
like,
that's why,
where do you
yeah,
draw the line? Like, what's the
yeah.
line? How many tanks do we have to roll in? Like,
That's why I feel the need to point it out because these imbeciles are gaslighting us to this point, and I have to fucking point out that no, sir, a million
good
people
sir.
have fled. Good sir, good sir. When a million people have fled, this shit is happening. Good sir.
Yeah, let's
And
discuss what Nikki Haley did because
on
that was a
that
travesty.
disgusting note, she went and signed an IDF artillery shell in
So,
Israel,
so,
dude.
so for the explainer as well, this was the runner-up. This is the person that lost the Republican Party primary against Donald Trump. She was the second most popular Republican, you could say, in the country by a big margin, obviously, behind Donald Trump, but still like a relatively influential figure, ex
Sloppy
UN
Haley. I
ex
called
UN
her.
ambassador, no
I
less.
appointed her. It was a mistake. I now call her Sloppy Haley. She's so sloppy. But yeah,
So
you're
tell us,
absolutely
Georgie,
right. This is
what did she do?
a very important figurehead of the Republican Party, as far as there are any apart from Trump at this point. But I mean, you realize she's a Republican because yeah, she went to Israel and signed a fucking bomb, dude. And I just want to
Yeah.
point out,
No, no, she signed on the bomb, finish them. Like we
yeah,
haven't killed enough. Like we left a couple of women and children alive. No, let's go get all of them.
a true Republican, Luigi. And by the way, that's how you do it, Lindsay. You don't just go on TV sweating and groaning like a fucking pig calling for them to be nuked. You go there
Yeah.
like a real motherfucker and you sign a bomb that's headed straight to the head of a Palestinian baby. That's how you do it. That's how you do it.
Adios.
Adios, muchachos. I'm a
Yeah.
Republican, aka a demon on earth.
What's
So, I
goodbye?
mean,
Yeah.
yeah, what's
Yeah,
goodbye in
yeah,
Hebrew? I don't
yeah.
know. I don't know. But then let's finish up, Luigi,
Yeah, let's finish up.
on a very funny note on this because we want to end lightly,
Oh,
even
okay.
as
Actually,
bad as the news are.
this is
Yeah.
interesting. Shalom can mean hello, goodbye, and peace. So it's a
Wow.
catch-all word.
It's a casual. And anything you want to add on Shalom, Luigi?
No, not really.
Okay.
It's a catch-all
So
word.
okay, yeah. So let's finish up on the funny stuff on this subject, which is a terribly dark subject. But I mean, you've got the Republicans on one hand, being like, fuck the Palestinians, nuke them. And then you've got Jack, the great savior of moderation, Luigi, the savior of the soul of America, whose motherfucking shitty Pierre plan has reached the point of failure where it's breaking apart in heavy seas, dude. I
Yeah.
mean, the
And
sea has claimed it, Luigi.
And I mean, seriously now, like Gaza is not like in the middle of an ocean. You are not getting tsunami level, like
Yeah,
hurricanes. I mean, okay, I mean, you can have a storm, but it's not like the most aggressive storms you're gonna find. The fact that the US
no.
military can spend $500 million and
Jesus.
still get a pier that breaks apart from natural phenomena. And by the way, like the icing on the cake, reportedly aid going into Gaza since this pier was constructed has fallen dramatically.
Oh, yeah.
So
Because
even
they've
when the
closed
pier
all
was
crossings.
operational,
Yeah.
yes, exactly. Even when the pier was operational, the aid was not getting through. And even when it was getting through, because the US is no longer working with the UN to distribute that aid, it was getting looted on the way. Because guess what? If people are starving, they are going to loot lorries carrying food.
They are gaslighting, especially especially older American audiences, so much that they can't comprehend that 1 million starving people is a catastrophe. They fucking trapped them in Gaza, bombing them endlessly and starving them out. What the fuck is this? And Jack, the great Jack, his response, Luigi, is
I mean, you,
just
you mean you mean the whole pier situation?
I mean everything, Luigi. I mean everything up
Yeah,
to
yeah.
now. It has been abysmal,
A
beyond abysmal,
disaster.
and a disaster. But then you go to the other guy, and he's
A
promising
real
to.
disaster. Category 5 hurricane disaster.
There is no salvation, Luigi. There is no salvation. Should we finish up on this douchebag?
Yeah.
He's having his court cases, but I will let others report on that. We'll let others report on this shit.
Oh, but
So he got
yeah.
booed. You
Mhm.
want to talk about
He got
that? Go
booed
on.
by the libertarians.
Whoa,
He
whoa,
got
whoa.
he got booed by a group of people that theoretically he should have in the bag, electorally speaking. And
Ooh.
instead, those people were cheering for, drum roll, Robert Kennedy Jr.
I heard they liked Robert more than they liked Donnie. And I can
Yeah.
understand that. I mean, these are libertarians, people. I mean, they
Mhm.
don't vote Republican, they vote libertarian, and they got the next president on the stage. A
Mhm.
guy who funded
Yeah, yeah.
vaccines.
By the way, when we say American libertarian, like that has nothing to do with the European libertarian. American
An
libertarian basically means
anarcho-capitalist. An
exactly.
anarcho-capitalist, yeah.
Anarcho-capitalist is the word. Like the Republican Party is not extreme enough for me, is what an
Yeah.
American
But
libertarian
I
is.
also want nothing else to do with other nations. But
Yeah,
there's
yeah.
also that angle.
Isolationism and
Yeah.
abolish the government as much as
Mm.
possible.
Which is, it's a creative idea. Ain't gonna work. But
Yeah,
I at
yeah.
least give it marks for creativity. And on this note, Luigi,
Bro, let's go back to the Wild West and have horses and saloons. It was a good time.
and barter wheels for
Cows, and we're gonna
yeah.
be cowboys.
He got booed, Luigi, and I'm gonna say
Yeah.
best things libertarians ever did. I'm gonna give it to him.
Okay.
Take it home with
Okay.
you, libertarians.
So just to finish up on this on a serious note, like the libertarians are a fringe minority in US
Oh
politics,
yeah.
maybe less than 2%, but in
It's
an election,
about the same size as the Greens. About.
yeah. But I mean, in an election where it's probably gonna be fought in like 5 battleground states and it's gonna
There's
come
a
down to a few thousand votes.
there's a reason Trump went there. Yeah, yeah.
Exactly,
He's
exactly.
trying to recruit votes. He was like, I mean, I saw it was incredible. He was like, come on, we gotta coalesce. Boo, boo, Donnie. Come on, you can do it. Maybe you won't do it. Do whatever you want.
He actually said, and if I wasn't a libertarian in the past, I am now.
My liberty. My liberty. Legend, living legend. Possibly the next US president, people. To end on a high note.
Speaking of libertarian, of assholes in general, but
Which is
libertarian assholes.
an incredible segue, Luigi. An incredible segue. I've learned recently that Elon Musk is a big fan. And I just want to say on Elon Musk, dude, he's 100% the kind of guy who in the Second World War tried to fucking coup Roosevelt to align with the fucking Nazis. 100%. Or, he's trying to make a few dollars in Argentina. I'm not gonna discount the
A
possibility.
few pesos, George, a few pesos.
He's gonna need a lot of pesos.
Which are not worth that much these days. Another great segue. The Argentinian peso plunged to a record low on the black market this week. And so I'm really gonna speed run this. Basically, what this economic genius wants to do is abolish the currency controls that they have. But in order to do that, he thinks the only way is for the peso's official value to converge to the peso's value on the black market. So what do? You shit on your currency even more so that it falls to the real level where it's trading in the black market. So how do you do that? You pressure the central bank to cut interest rates in an environment where inflation is like 200% or 250, something
Is he doing Erdoganomics?
He's doing the Erdogan.
Wow. What a genius. A genius of the modern age, Luigi.
The annual inflation rate hit 290% in April. And I mean, Erdogan is just a bandit at this point. He's a baby on economics. This guy is supposed to be an economist. Which goes to prove that economics is not a serious profession or a serious subject, people.
No, dude. I mean, if the guys who worship it look like, as I said, a shit state, what can you expect? Let's end on the good news, Luigi.
Let's end on this high. Yeah, on a high note. Thank you, George. As always, a glorious episode. Thank you to everybody for listening to us. Like, subscribe, all of the good stuff. We really appreciate it. It really helps the podcast to find its way into more ears. So
100%. It costs nothing, people. Have a good week. Bye-bye.